What's going on, people? It's me, your boy C, the host of most of the things here on Pop Rica. And today, man, we're still back on our series, our podcast series, 100 Greatest Science Fiction Movies of All Time. Ranked from 100 to 1 by me. One podcast a day for the first 100 days of 2022. Hopefully your 2022 is treating you gentle so far. We're about a week into this business now. Hopefully the world hasn't ended and it's just aliens listening to this. Yesterday, we talked about our number 92 joint, Solaris, our first foreign language entry, man, a Russian joint, a real existential crisis mindfuck of a movie that moves very slowly, is languidly paced, but is still definitely worth every second of watching, I do believe. But today we're talking about our number 91 pick, man. Couldn't be further from Solaris. 1994's Stargate, directed by Roland Emmerich, and one of the most Roland Emmerich movies to ever Roland Emmerich, man. It will take you a million light years from home, but will it bring you back? Which, a tagline that young me could get down with. Okay, that's enough to get me to watch this movie. An interstellar teleportation device found in Egypt leads to a planet with humans resembling ancient Egyptians who worship the god Ra. Man, all throughout this movie, there's a couple of faces you might recognize. Of course, most notably, Kurt Russell, James Spader up in there. French Stewart is in this movie. I'm not sure who let him on the set. A young Jaimon Hunsu in there as well, man. This is one of those movies, man, where I just can't quite figure out how I feel about this movie, man. This movie is very confusing to me. Stargate, I think, is peak 90s science fiction. And you can't tell me any different. The visuals are trying hard, but it's 90s visuals. It's 90s effects. Some of the characters are a bit corny. The story itself is all right, man. It's just fairly decent. I think it's really saved. The most of this movie is saved by James Spader's earnestness, or his character's earnestness, and Dr. Jackson throughout this movie. He has a genuine thirst for knowledge and is presented with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to travel through the stars. We, as an audience, experience the wonders of all this through his eyes. The movie completely fails if Spader didn't show up, and Spader did show up in spades. I'll be honest. I have no idea what else Kurt Russell was doing in the mid-90s. I think this is like Captain Ron era Kurt Russell. If so, yikes. But I think also Tombstone might have been somewhere around here too, so he redeemed himself on that one. But in Stargate, man, he's that classic stoic, gruff military dude. The mission's all there is. One of those type guys. And I know it looks cool on screen. And, at this point, that's just like the trope of the military soldier. But if Hollywood only knew like 80% of the military are people who just want to get off work so they can hang out and get some drinks, they'd be horrified. But I think the real question for me, though, is this an actual sci-fi classic? To which I will say, no, it is not. I think this and The Fifth Element are the two finest B-level sci-fi movies ever made. And Stargate is such a great movie to queue up and drink with your friends and have fun with. If you're looking for that kind of vibe, Stargate's what you want to do. Put it on a Friday night, man. Get your beverage of choice or your ingestion of choice. And you're bound to have a fun time watching this movie. But still, I will say that the world building is also, besides Spader's performance, the world building is what does a lot of heavy lifting in the movie. I like all the references to Egyptian culture, which is not something you see a lot of in science fiction. To its accomplishments and its detriment. I'm like, oh shit, a whole bunch of white people are up in here, but still, we get a lot of Egyptian culture in here and in Egyptian relics and references. And that's, like I said, it's a little something different than what you normally get in your sci-fi. That world building is doing some fairly decent lifting. That's where all the fascination for it lies in me. Like I said, I think the story is pretty good. The action set pieces, are by 90s standards fairly damn good. By like nowadays standards, still somewhat decent, I think. Like there's Stargate kind of holds up on a rewatch if you're not taking it too seriously, I think. And that's why it has landed as number 91 on my list. What, that was number 91, right? Yeah. Number 91 on my list, man. Stargate. We'll be back in 24 of the hours to talk about some more night. We're going to round out the 90s tomorrow, man, before we get into those crucial ass 80s. So come on back, man. We'll see what the next one is, man. Let me know what your thoughts are on Stargate. Until then, you all take it easy and have a good one.